Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So I got another deck profile for you guys today for the June 2019 format. This time it's on Blue Eyes. I went back and made a lot of changes with this deck. I got some new cards, and hopefully you guys will enjoy the new additions I made. So this deck is pretty decent actually. It's actually not too bad to play. As long as you play it correctly, you should actually be able to win a lot of games with this. And funny enough that the Archbrave and Amorphage Goliath are still pretty effective in this deck. So if you can manage to bring out Amorphage Goliath, you pretty much shut down a lot of decks in this format because they can't access their extra deck. So, and there are plenty of ways to do it. Even though Dark Matter is banned, you got multiple ways of being able to get Amorphage and Archbrave out. So it really shouldn't be that difficult. And plus, Archbrave is pretty handy because he can get rid of Floodgates. And again, Amorphage just there to basically lock down your opponent's extra deck. That way you can't summon anything except Amorphage monsters. Well, anyway, let's go and get started, and I'll show you what I got this time around. Alright, starting off, I'm going to be playing, of course, 3 Blue Eyes White Dragons. That's standard. That's your main boss monster. Can't be hit with Widow Anchor, so it's got a good matchup against Sky Strikers. 3 alternatives, also standard. You need to reveal 1 Blue Eyes to special summon this card. Unfortunately, you can only summon it that way once per turn. But its ability to pop cards is a soft once per turn. So if you pop 1 card, get them off the field and then revive them, you can pop another card again. So really handy. Next, 1 Dragon Spirit White banishes back row, so yeah, really, really powerful. And it's like banishment really hurts a lot of decks this format. So the theory is right now is that you want to banish the Orcus Field spell because that's the card that enables them to have quick effects. And since they only run the 1, and you banish it, that's it. The deck's gonna have a hard time playing. It's the same way with Salamangreat. They need that field spell to be able to relink into the same monster. So if you banish that, they have to use up more resources. So that's the general theory, is like you want to banish more than you want to pop, because some decks can actually revive or recycle their back row. So that's why banishment's a little bit better. Next, of course, Amorphage Goliath. As I mentioned, this just shuts down a lot of decks from summoning from their extra deck. So pretty good. 1 Archbrave Dragon, also pretty good. And I always sometimes I like to make use of his ability if you special summon him from grave, where you can banish all face-up spells and traps. And like I said, that really hurts. But also because it helps get around Floodgates. So if someone springs, there can only be 1 for me, and I happen to have no monsters, well, I'll just bring back Archbrave, banish it. That there can only be 1 card. Next up, 3 Sage. Definitely one of your best cards in the deck. So it has a good discarding effect to get you a free Blue Eyes. Also, you can search, if he's normal summon, you can search out any level 1 light attribute tuner. So you can get your stones or your Effect Veiler. So yes, Effect Veiler being a hand trap is searchable in this deck. Next, I'm only playing 2 copies of Whitestone of Ancients because you don't have too many targets, and since you're going to be searching out your Blue Eyes a lot, that's why I feel like 2 is enough. So your only main targets are going to be Blue Eyes White Dragon and the Dragon Spirit of White. So I think 2 is just perfectly fine. 1 Whitestone of Legend. Definitely want to discard it with Melody of the Awakening Dragon. That's usually the best way to combo it off. But generally, it just helps you get a free Blue Eye. So it's a 2 for 2, but in this case, it's a 2 for 3. So you +1 with Whitestone of Legend. Next, 1 Glow Bulb. This helps you synchro climb into the cards you need to get into True King of all Calamities, which I'll get to momentarily. And for the only hand traps I'm running are 2 Ash Blossom, and of course 2 copies of Effect Veiler. Definitely great cards to disrupt your opponent, and like I said, Effect Veiler is searchable. I was thinking of running 1 Master with Eyes of Blue in this deck just so I can recycle it, but he was a little too slow, so I decided to just keep it as it is. So I think that's perfectly fine. Alright, so that's 20 monsters in them, and now we're going into spells and traps. And by the way, guys, this is exactly 40 cards in the main deck, so I'm not going over that. Next, 3 Melody of the Awakening Dragon. Again, this searches out your Blue Eyes and your alternative, so definitely need that. 3 Trade-In. Got a bunch of level 8, so got plenty of discard fodder. So in case if you actually open up with that Amorphage Goliath, but you happen to open up with this, get rid of that Amorphage Goliath, get it in the graveyard, and just revive it. Next, 3 Return of the Dragon Lords. Definitely a must. You definitely want to run this at 3. Gives you Dragon's protection, so Return of the Dragon Lords, really important. 2 Called by the Grave. You don't want any hand traps to hit you, so of course that's always standard. 1 Dragon Shrine. Definitely need your dragons in the grave as quickly as you can. This is how Blue Eyes gets its advantage. You need them to get in the grave, that way you can bring them back. 1 Foolish Burial. 1 for 1 to get your tuners out. My main target with this card is always going to be Globe Bulb, but depending on the situation, I might actually get a stone instead. 1 Silver Scry, and 1 Monster Reborn just because I love Revival. And for the only traps I'm running 3 copies of Ultimate Creature of Destruction. Yes, I finally got my hands on a playset. I pulled 1, bought the other 2 online, and just got them delivered here today, so really happy with that. And then lastly, 1 Skill Drain. Definitely an amazing card. Ultimate Creature is just one of your main win conditions of the deck, and again, you mainly want to focus on your Blue-Eyes White Dragons. And funny enough, this deck doesn't really rely too heavily on its extra deck, but when you do, definitely take advantage of it. Because Blue-Eyes White Dragon is already powerful enough as it is. Alright, so moving on to the extra deck, playing 1 Hieratic Seal. Everyone should already know what this does. Scar Dragons play this pretty much all the time. 1 Linkuriboh, and these are the only 2 links you're going to be running because, like I said, this deck mostly focuses on Synchro summoning and XC summoning, and even then you should still be able to get like plenty of monsters on board, and monsters they can easily revive later. 2 Dragon Spirit of White. Definitely need to run it too because you have 2 tag out, or actually 3 tag out targets. So depending on your matchup and depending on what move is the best move, Spirit Dragon will always help you out. It also hurts pendulums because they can't special summon more than 2 monsters at once. So Spirit Dragon definitely good against pendulum decks. 1 Azure-Eye Silver Dragon, more protection, also revives your normal monsters. 1 Starter Spark Dragon, I finally got my hands on one of these. Took out Blue-Eyes Twin Burst just because I'm running Tachyon Dragon anyway, so that's the only reason. 1 Moonlight Dragon, just to bounce back one of your opponent's monsters back, so definitely a handy card. Crystal Wing for negation. And then Cloud Castle just helps you climb into True King of all Calamities. And this is where Starter Spark Dragon comes into play and Globe Bulb. So like if you manage to get him out, you use Globe Bulb's effect, go into Cloud Castle, bring back the Spirit Dragon since you would have already tagged out by now, and then just overlay them, go into True King of all Calamities. Next for our XCs, number 38, Hope Harbinger, negates spells. Galaxy Eye Cypher Dragon, it's mind control. And if you happen to have your Link 2 Hieratic Seal, you can definitely go into 2 cards here. Either Cypher Blade Dragon and then Photon Dragon. Actually, you can pretty much just go into both if you can, because they both are both free spot removal, so that's why. Tachyon Dragon, at the start of the battle phase, you detach 1. All other face-up monsters have their effects negated, and also their attack points become their original attack points. So if they had a power boost, they just revert back, and they can't really do anything about that. And then, of course, if your opponent activates an effect, this card gains 1,000 attack points. And it can make a second attack during each battle phase. Next, True King of all Calamities, and that's pretty much it. And everyone knows what this card does. It's one of those oppressive cards that just shuts down so much Declare an Attribute. And your opponent's monsters become that attribute, and any monster he already has with that attribute have their effects completely canceled out. So, really busted. Alright. For side deck, going with 3 Denko Sekka, it's for basically Mystic Mine. You definitely don't want that deck to set off, and also Denko Sekka, just since this deck doesn't really eat up a normal summon that quickly or as easily, Denko Sekka, you normal summon that, you should still be able to special summon some Blue-Eyes monsters fairly easily, so I feel like Denko Sekka was definitely a good call. Artifact Lancia, easily the best side card right now, just shuts down Thunder Dragons, Orcust, anything that revolves around banishment. 2 Ghost Sisters for time rules. If I had a third one, I would run a third, but I think 2 is just fine, honestly. You just needed to gain yourself some life point advantage, and that's it. 3 Twin Twisters, you have plenty of cards you want to discard, so Twin Twisters, definitely handy, and you just want to basically get your stones or any of your bricks off your hand. 3 Evenly Matched, and apparently this card's actually good in Blue-Eyes, just gotta be careful how you play it. 1 Imperial Order. So, and that's pretty much it. Well, that's all I got for you guys today. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll catch you guys again next time.